Hey guys, Ted Bogert here. Welcome back to the TED Show. I'm excited to talk about this topic. Laughter is no joke. Wink, wink. With the one and only amazing Kim McIntyre. You can find her at joyfulbeing.com and all over social media. But we're going to talk about laughter and smiling, I'm sure, and all
Woohoo!
sorts of great things. So join me in welcoming Kim to the show. Kim, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Ted. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited. Kim and I have had a fascinating challenge getting together. 99.9, 100% of it has been me. And today I was like, whatever it takes, we are going to get the show done because I think your message is awesome and I think more people need to hear it. So, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about your journey before we take a deep dive into laughter. Tell
Wow.
them a little bit about how you got from point A to point B.
Well, I, in my 20s and 30s, very high stress time. A lot of high stress things happened. And I ended up with a health challenge in 2001 that was turned out to be not life threatening, but I didn't know that at the time. That's a whole process of, the doctor says they need to run tests and they need to do a biopsy and all that stuff that you had to go through. And gratefully, it was not life threatening. But because it wasn't life threatening, I kind of hit pause and went, wait a minute, they want to do really drastic surgeries and things to me. And this isn't life threatening. Let me just pause and see. At the time, there was a program in Orlando called Getting Well, which was basically like a support group situation for people going through health challenges. And we did all kinds of things every day. There was like support groups, there was art therapy, there was all kinds of cool stuff. But the thing that hooked me was the laughter and play therapy we did every day. And it was like I came home to a part of myself I had completely lost touch with in the stress of life, and the stress of learning to be an adult and doing the adulting thing. So, um,
Stressful. It's so
yeah,
stressful.
yeah. And it was just playing games and having fun. And then, so I went to Getting Well for 2 weeks. I did their full program. And then I was like at home going, where's my laughter fix today? you know? And not too long after that, I found a training. I just showed up, a training to become a certified laughter leader. I'm like, what is this about? And I was on a plane. I went and did the training and I haven't looked back. And since then, I have taught thousands of people to crack themselves up and also just to value laughter because it gets shoved down the list, right? And I experienced myself firsthand. I cannot say that laughter cured me or anything like that, but I know it empowered me to feel more like myself and therefore make better choices for my healthcare going forward because I just felt like me again. So,
It's crazy how we do bury that, right? I mean, people in
mhm.
general, they forget to laugh. I whenever I present or I'm on a panel, I always tend to look out to the audience to see who my smiling audience members are, and I
Yes.
focus on them because laughter is a part of what I do. I actually didn't know until we were talking about doing the show that there was a laughter training and a whole thought process and a therapy
Mhm.
around it. It's so powerful, the smile, the laughter, and we get so caught up and we get overwhelmed. We're completely overwhelmed and overstimulated, especially in this social media society.
Yeah.
And so I love this because people will say to me, "You always look happy," and I always tell them it's a choice.
Mhm.
I am a happy person, but I still have to laugh through things and smile through things. So talk a little bit about that. Those people who are out there watching are probably like, "Well, she just doesn't know what I'm going through," or "She has no
I know.
clue." So tell us a little bit how this works because I'm
Well,
fascinated.
it's in first part, it's being proactive because sometimes people think, oh, laughter just happens or it doesn't, and they're kind of like feeling powerless about it. But honestly, you can choose to lean in that direction towards laughter, towards joy, towards fun. But it's so undervalued in our society that you actually have to make a conscious choice bring it into your life, to make it part of your life. Because here's the thing. Yeah, you may be going through tough stuff, but laughter's the time when you need, you need the laughter when the times are tough. That's
Yes,
when you
you
need
do.
it the most. And that's when it's also the hardest to do for a lot of people. So, you know, everybody has a favorite show that makes them laugh, or YouTube videos that make them laugh. I mean, you can find things to make you laugh, but you need to remember to be proactive about it. And that's one of the tricks,
How do
right?
you be proactive? So let's talk about it. So people will say
Yeah.
again, I'm immediately attracted to people who smile and
Mhm.
laugh. My soul, spirit, whatever your beliefs are, the universe is always pushing me toward people like that. So I'm a believer in doing it. I couldn't tell you how I do it. So
Right.
maybe educate people who are like, all right, I love what you're saying, Kim, but I
Right.
have no idea what the steps are. Give them a little pointers.
Right. Well, I have a number of different strategies that I teach, but here's one simple one that most everybody can do really easily. It's creating your own customized laughter list, right? So you ask yourself, what makes me laugh? And initially, when I do this in groups of people, like I just did a couple weeks ago, a group of like 140 people, I can ask that question, what makes you laugh? And you just feel like this quiet across the room, like people are going, I don't know, what makes me laugh? I have no clue what makes me laugh,
The
right?
wrong answer.
so so you need to like figure that out, right? And when you do, you make yourself a list. Now this can be a list you put on your refrigerator, you put on your computer, but the best place for most people to put it is on their phone. Like my laughter list is on my phone, pinned under notes to the top of my notes. And it's like if there's a specific YouTube video that I come across that makes me laugh almost every time, like here's an oldie but a goodie, the dentist sketch from the Carol Burnett show.
I love that sketch. I
Every
watched
time
that too.
makes
Yes.
me laugh. So you add things like that to your laughter list. So when you don't feel like laughing and it's hard to laugh, you go to your list and you try. Okay, maybe the first one didn't work. Maybe the second one will work. You can have things on there like, there's certain people in your life who might make you laugh naturally in conversation, because laughter flows out of conversation so beautifully for most people. That's It's actually been studied by Dr. Rob at Provine University of Maryland. You're 30 times more likely to laugh when you're in conversation with other people than when you're by yourself. So pick up the phone and call a friend who, you'll laugh at the hard stuff together with, right? And so that can be on your list. Call so and so. So it's just a resource that you can create for yourself to be proactive. So, and there are many other strategies that I teach people, but that's a good one to start with for
I
most
think I
people.
think people do like I have people I know that part of their therapy, their self-imposed therapy, they will watch funny TikToks, for example,
Mm-hmm.
because they're quick and they're short, and it's like a
Mm-hmm.
series of laughter for as long as you want to keep hitting next. They
Right.
find a topic, they find a person, a personality on TikTok, and I love that because I think that when I'm in a meeting and I see people who literally don't smile for 2 hours, first I feel bad for them. I'm like,
Right.
what is going on? And then I realize they probably have absolutely just forgotten how to be joyful or happy or laugh outside of their circumstances.
Right.
It's not all, it's not all a beautiful life. I get it. We
Yeah.
all have our challenges, but how you figure out how to bring the laughter back is what you teach to people,
Right.
what you give them.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
also, I also to respond to what you just said, for folks like that, sometimes laughter and joy may be too far a stretch for somebody, and you don't want to then add on top of that beating yourself up because you can't get to the laughter and the joy, because that just adds more pain on top of the pain, right? So in that situation, number one, if joy and laughter really is truly impossible for you and it's been that way for years, then maybe there's some kind of support you need to get, whether it's a doctor or a licensed mental health counselor or something like that. I was surprised when I had some blood work like 10 or 12 years ago that showed that I was allergic or sensitive to gluten. And I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to get off bread.
No.
Love bread, love pasta, right? But I'm like, okay, all right, I'll do it. Maybe it'll help, with some inflammation, some of the things I was having issues in my body. The thing that surprised me, all of a sudden, it's like this brain fog lifted and I was happy. Like I didn't realize how the food, an allergic thing, was affecting me. So there might be something affecting them that they might need to consult a doctor or a licensed mental health counselor or a pastor or somebody to help them through that. And then the other thing is, if joy and laughter is too far a stretch, to try instead for comfort, for soothing, for something that just feels like yummy self-care that's just gentle and easy. It might be a warm blanket and a cup of tea. Not today, though. It's hot today.
No, oh my God, no, not today.
Maybe, it's something else today, but a nice dip in the pool. But yeah, so to go just a baby step towards that direction and something that's soothing and comforting, and not like beat yourself up if joy and laughter feels too far away. And by the same token, if you stretch yourself a little bit to look for that thing that might make you laugh, you might be surprised. So
I think you're 100%. Well, I know you're 100% right. And one of the things I wanted to ask you about, that I feel like people do this whenever it comes to self-care, laughter, whatever that is, comfort, soothing, is giving themselves permission to do it and to enjoy it. So can you talk about that? Because I feel like we don't. We feel like it's a weakness if we give ourselves permission. We feel like everybody else has it so perfect because that's what social media tells us, everybody's perfect.
Right.
So we want to give ourselves permission to feel these things, to laugh, to have joy, to experience happiness, to feel comfort.
I love that you just said that, because that's usually one of my tips that I give on podcast interviews. Because yes, people feel guilty sometimes. I can't tell you how often I've run into that. Somebody saying, I feel guilty if I go have fun or I take a nap or whatever. And so, funny story. So my best friend calls me up one day. She works really, really hard. She's a therapist. She sees through people through really tough traumas and tough, hard things. And she called me up and she said, okay, sometimes my clients cancel, and the water park is like a 10-minute drive from my office. Kim, will you give me permission to go get the summer pass for the water park? And I was like,
I love it.
She called me knowing I would, of course, say, of course, go give yourself permission. Go do it. Go. Because then if somebody cancels, she can go do the lazy river a few times and then come back to the office. And so yeah, I was like, of course. So if you can't give yourself permission, ask somebody who would be glad to give you that permission, because it feels like we need permission, right? There's this work ethic thing that if you are not productive 24/7, something's wrong. But hey, on your deathbed, you're not going to go, oh, geez, I wish I'd checked more stuff off my to-do list. Nope. You're going to be wishing you'd done more quality experiences in your life that are enjoyable, that connect you with others, that matter, the deeper stuff that matters. And fun and laughter is part of that. That's part of connecting with people, connecting with life.
That's right. And I think people too, a lot of people will say, Ted, I don't know how you go do all the events that you go to. Well, that feeds me and that brings me laughter and joy. And I said, but you don't, just because that brings me laughter and joy and happiness doesn't mean it's what brings you. So if not going to those events, you're stressing about you not being like someone else going to an event. If that's not part of your DNA, part of who you are, then give yourself permission to do what is going to make you laugh and bring you joy and bring you comfort and all of the things that you mentioned.
Yes,
exactly. And I think people just, because of the comparisons on social media, we are just beating ourselves up, and we really shouldn't be.
Yeah, and that's actually a perfect lead into the freebie, the free resource on my website.
Woo, all right, let's talk about free resources.
So ready. That is a worksheet, a play sheet, I call it, with 10 powerful questions to discover your true joy, because that is my whole point. Like, we think we know what joy should look like based on what it looks like on other people. And so these questions are about really going inside to say, yeah, what is it for me? Because I've asked that question to people across the board in all different locations and groups and different things, and the answers vary widely. So you just need to know what it is for you, because you can't bring more in unless you know what it is. And otherwise, then you're looking at social media, you're looking at messages from society or what your family members told you should do. And that may not be right for you at all. So it's like, what is joy for you? What is your true joy? And for some people, it can be like playing a game with their pet, and for somebody else it's like being out at a party or whatever, where one person might be like, oh, that party would drain me, so you got to
Correct.
really honor what it is for you, but you can't honor that until you know what it is.
And I
So
think it's hard to define, right? There's a great
yeah,
scene from a movie called Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts, and she has never experienced her own what eggs she likes, because she's
right,
always listened to the people around her, and they've told her that. And I think a lot of us feel that we've been told this should bring us joy, or this should make us happy, or this brings us comfort, and we've
right,
never stopped to think about what it really is that feeds
right,
us and brings us joy. And so
yeah,
that exercise for her, I think about that scene, and it's just such a
yeah,
small part of the movie, but it's so powerful because I believe a lot of people are suffering with that. They have
definitely,
no idea how to answer your question.
right.
Um, and to think about it is almost painful, because then they have to stop and think, well, what have I been doing my whole life if I don't even know what brings me joy?
Right, but it doesn't need to be painful. It can
It
be
does.
an exercise in curiosity. Like you could be like, I don't know, not like Spock because he doesn't have an emotions on Star Trek, but like sort of like, oh, curious, interesting. What could that be? And just be curious about it. Curious about yourself. And it's okay to be curious about yourself. Give yourself permission for that. Just like you give yourself permission for fun. Because here's the thing, if you burn yourself out with all the life stuff, right? If you don't have what refuels you, and laughter and joy refuels most people, then you're really no good to anybody if you burned yourself out, So if you're feeling guilty, like, oh, I can't go do that, but if you take care of yourself, it's like that oxygen mask first thing on the airplane, right? If you take care of yourself, then you're more likely to be able to take care of other people. And honestly, laughter can make you feel better in seconds. People are like, oh, I don't have time for stress relief. I don't have time for self care.
It's so
I don't
fun.
have time for all that. Can you laugh? You can laugh in 20 seconds or less, and it shifts how you feel in an instant. So,
It's true. It's so true.
yeah.
I have loved this. So I want people to find out more about you. What's the best way? How can they find that freebie that you gave? How can they reach out to you, Kim?
Yes, you can go to my website, joyfulbeing.com, and you'll see like a little tab there that'll lead you to the freebie. Or if you want to go straight to the freebie, joyfulbeing.com/questions. So, yeah. And on my website, also, if you go to the menu at the bottom, you can find where I am on social media and all of that. That's all there too. So, yeah.
You're amazing. I smiled and laughed the whole time. I knew I would. And I just want to give all those people who are listening that permission that it's
Yes.
okay to feel that joy, to
Yeah.
laugh, to joke, to smile, to be comforted in your own way. And don't stress about it if you don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
Check
Yeah.
out Joyful Being and check out that freebie, and then reach out to Kim. What a joy to have you on. I mean that. I smiled the whole time. It was beautiful.
Thank you,
Thank
Pat.
you so much, Kim McIntyre, y'all. Find out more about her. Let's all laugh a little more. All right.